Hi everybody, it's Az here from Heel vs Babyface. So at long last, Danger Dolan and I managed to get back together again to do a World of Warcraft discussion. It's meant to be about patch 6.2. I think we go off at tangents on quite a few occasions. And this is only the first part. When we started talking, or just before we started recording, we said to each other, look, if it lasts 10 minutes, it lasts 10 minutes. If it lasts an hour, it lasts an hour. It's about an hour and 3/4 that we ended up speaking for. So part 1 is on my channel right now. If you flick over after you've listened to this to the top link in the description below, that is part 2 on Danger Dolan's channel. So please go and check that out immediately afterwards and hit that subscribe button while you're there. Now, just to make you also aware, because Danger Dolan is in Australia and I'm in the UK, I have to use a different audio program when talking to him, so it does make things a little bit fuzzier and I might be slightly louder and he just deal with it. Alright, but I hope you enjoyed the discussion, and here it is. Buddy, it's Az here from Heel vs Babyface. So, DD and I, Danger Dolan, used to do a discussion series where we talked about things World of Warcraft. We'd pick ourselves a topic, and then we'd kind of like let rip. And it was good fun, I think. So now we're both in a different spot as regards to the World of Warcraft. You yourself have significantly declined in your gameplay. I am currently unsubscribed full stop from the game itself. But we've just had patch 6.2 drop. We've both experienced significantly aspects of 6.2. Me from the PTR point of view, and seeing it all through the content-wise, you as a player on live, kind of experiencing that for the first time.
PTR at all.
Yeah. So for me, it's gone through the whole testing procedure, and then we've got to the point that you're, as a live player, now taking over and kind of running with the content which I've been testing with. So we're going to go through the various points of content, and we're just going to do what we normally do. We're going to dissect it. We're going to tear it to pieces. No, we're going to dissect it.
Trousers and just give it justice. Yeah.
Just make it feel like a real woman. I think that's a great way to do it. So I thought we'd kind of go through this a little bit more methodically, in as much as we'll go through like the progressionary points of patch 6.2. So it all starts off with it's sending you over to the Iron Docks. You do that small quest line. You come back. You create your shipyard. So how was it for you seeing the shipyard? What were your first thoughts, and did you have any understanding of what the shipyard was going to do prior to playing the live servers?
Yeah, obviously I've watched a couple of your videos on it, complaining that essentially shipyard is like another garrison, like command table. And I went into it, with an open mind, thinking, there might be like side things you have to do with the ships. Like you send them out on missions, and then you have to like, go to Tanan and, fight a blockade of ships to make the mission go faster. Nope. Nope. You just send a goddamn ship out and just wait. And even here's the thing, right? It's everything about this patch had a bad first impression. I would say that's the heading for this patch, like the main title. Bad first impressions. And if they had done things a little bit differently...
Where did you get that first feeling?
So that was from both the shipyard and from the from Tanan Jungle itself. So with the shipyard, it was whenever you start doing the quest, each individual quest to like build a ship or send out on a mission, every time you have to wait 1 minute. In that minute, you have nothing to do. You just sit there, wait a minute for like nothing happen. Like usually in these games, they would give you something to do. They'd be like, you have to walk over here. You have to walk over to this place over here. That would take you a minute. Then you talk to the guy, and then he can continue. No, it's just like stand here for a minute while we just like look at the fancy graphics in front of you. Aren't they clever and nice? It's like, well, no. I'd rather be playing the game.
Isn't that a funny thing though? Because they clearly they clearly make it 59 seconds, a minute long, so you don't go anywhere. It's saying to you, stay here. We're going to push you straight on to the next point. If you're going to do that, just make it 5 seconds, 10 seconds.
I know, like, I was thinking, because obviously they're trying to give you a feeling for how long it takes for the shipyard. Like, obviously, no one's done a garrison, command table mission before. No, sir. So they're trying to get you a sense for how long it's going to take you later on. but it just doesn't make any sense. Like to just make you just stand there for a minute. Like when you're really excited for a patch, that really deflates you, and just makes you feel like, oh, okay, so this is going to be the case. And then later on, when they give you your first hour mission, at that point, I was like, no, thanks. Like I see where this is going. I see what this is going to be. The reason that the garrison command table works so well is because you're leveling up as you do it. So you've got a lot of other content to do as you are doing this this command table mission things. Like leveling up all your followers, that's fine. But with the shipyard, you have to do Tanan jungle as you do it. Like you don't really have any other choice.
That Blizzard wanted that. They said they wanted
Exactly.
the two to be intrinsically linked together.
Yeah, exactly. But here's the issue, right? And I'm going to jump ahead a little bit, just a tiny bit, is that Tanan Jungle has Apex's dailies, and I don't.
We'll get onto that.
Dailies.
We'll get onto that.
Absolutely.
We'll get onto that.
Yeah, so it's like if you.
I
Don't
know
like
you're raring
content,
to go with that, but I'm bringing you back
don't
in.
like-
I'm bringing you to the
if you don't
shipyard, DD. Come on,
if you
back
don't- I
over the
know.
water.
If you don't like the content from Tanan, then the shipyard doesn't really work that well. If you log in every day for the command table anyway, then sure, shipyard might work for you. But if you're not doing Tanan Jungle and the stuff over there, then you are not going to have
But
as much
the
fun.
shipyard's different in as much as the missions in the shipyard. Your first few kind of start off like an hour long or whatever.
Yeah.
But then when you open up the segments, the blockades, then you suddenly have 2 days, 4-day missions.
Yeah.
Because it's trying to break away from the original command table from the town hall, where a lot of people felt chained to it because missions were so quick. So it's just like, this is only I've got this this epic mount follower trait. So this one, instead of being half an hour, is going to be 15 minutes. I might as well just start whizzing around my garrison. And a lot of people felt kind of chained to it. With the ship one, the reasoning behind the longer missions was they wanted you to then just like forget about it, and then go back to your Apexis dailies, go back to Tanan with all that good stuff. What about the aesthetics?
About new content.
What about the aesthetics of the shipyard? Did you like the way they looked?
I didn't care.
Oh.
The ships, like, I mean, I didn't do that much of the shipyard, so I can't really, like, speak about, like, the later missions or, how the ships look or whatever, but the initial missions, I'd already seen those ships before. The command table was literally the other command table that's been reskinned.
Yeah.
I didn't feel, like, immersed in it at all. I don't know. I guess I should have just done more of it just to get it.
When you realised it was just a command table.
Yeah.
When that penny dropped, what was that
sucked.
like? Sucked.
Yeah, it just sucked ass. Like I've been doing here's the thing. If I hadn't been doing the command table missions for the whole expansion for the last, I don't know how long it's been, like 6 or 8 months or whatever it's been, then it wouldn't have been so bad. It would have been like, oh, this is kooky and new. Man, I could try this and see how it goes. But I know, like, this ties back into the bad first impression thing. I already know where the command table is going to lead. I already know where the Apexis thing's going to lead. I know where these things are going to lead. And so therefore, I have expectations, and they're like, it just deflates me so fast.
Yeah.
And it's disappointing.
No, I think you've picked up, you bastard, on a point which I was going to be such a main point for me in this video, was the fact that I think a lot, I mean, again, not jumping the gun to the other forms of content yet, but exactly right. The command table in the shipyard, the Apexis dailies in Tanan, everything is so similar. It's so samey. It doesn't matter if it's had a lick of paint. It doesn't matter if the Apexis dailies in Tanan are 10 minutes quicker than if they were in 6.0. Everything is the same. There's no evolution. There's been no progression. And when your brain suddenly tweaks onto that fact, like when I saw the shipyard for the first time, I was quite giddy because I thought, this is going to be an exciting bit of content. We're probably going to get on some ships, go out, sink some vessels, have some high seas combat, maybe even some scenario based either missions or questing, etc. So I had this really cool expectation, and I did a couple of videos. I was just like, there it is, looks cool, that looks good. You build a ship, you put it here, and then it was that realization, oh my god, it's a command table.
Yeah.
And I was just like, we've done a command table. So my brain automatically sort of went, but we've had 8 months of command. It doesn't matter if a mission is 15 minutes, an hour, or 2, 3, 4 days. It's still the same with a lick of paint, and yeah.
I think that I think there is content there hidden in the rubble, but I don't think Blizzard dressed it up properly so that it appears new. They're using the old formats from the launch of Worlds of Draenor, and they're using that as the format to drive the content. But yeah, because of the expectations, people, or at least me, I just don't care about doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, I know where it's going to lead, and therefore I don't want any part of it, unfortunately. But yeah,
Yeah.
Like, there is content both in Tanaan and in the shipyards, but it's lost by the way it's presented to you. It sucks.
But yeah, on the PTR, because one of my jobs on the PTR is to test and see where things lead and see where they go. And when I was doing the testing on the shipyard, and then when I realised very early doors it was simply a command table, I was there on the command table saying, right, okay, how do I find this interesting? Do I find this interesting? Is it bringing a new dynamic to the game that I haven't seen from the original command table? And it didn't matter that instead of having a list there was a world map. That my brain was still saying to me, no, this is pretty much identical. It didn't mean anything to me that the ships went from green to epic, because again, it was just like upgrading a follower when they were having stuff. And when it was saying you find those pieces of equipment to attach to your ships, then I was just thinking, well, that's just weapon and armor for the followers. So my brain was already departmentalizing exactly what the parallels were with the existing content. So although I spent time with it on PTR, as I was meant to, as a tester, if I was to do that on live, I wouldn't be bothered. Because I just, again, like you said, I just knew where it would go. I just know that this would be a put that there, upgrade it to there, get X reward at X time, get Y reward at Y time. And it didn't feel fresh. I mean, Corey Stockton, in this recent propaganda interview he did, well, that's what they're just sycophantic propaganda interviews, aren't they? They're just embarrassing. They're kind of not trying to derail this video, but they just undo all the good work of the Q&A from a couple of weeks ago, where for the first time in ages we'd spoken to like a proper member of the community, and then 2 weeks later they're off just doing Nazi propaganda stuff, saying everything is it's so fresh and new. But Corey was saying, we wanted the shipyard to be fresh and fun and new, and we wanted it, and he put the word fun to finding oil. He was like, we want it to be fun when you get oil. And I was just like, Corey, if it was fun to get oil, there'd be a queue a mile long outside every gas station with a big chain of hand jobs as somebody's buying some Castrol GTX from the counter. Getting oil's not fun. You're not going to see somebody, oh my God, I just found some oil in Tanaan, do a lap of fucking honour around the house with their hands in the air. It's just like, come on, let's get to reality. It didn't feel fresh, it didn't feel new, it just felt like Command Table 2.0.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Disappointing.
Alright, well, I think enough said about Shipyard.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's going to get a little bit mean.
Speaking of content that's just rehash of stuff we've already done. Yeah. Let's talk about Tanaan.
Right, before we do, I just want to say one thing to you, though. How did you find the invasion? Walking up the road.
There was an invasion?
Yeah, that walking up the road to get to that's your invasion.
And they're like, the orcs are mysteriously banished. I was like, but why? Shouldn't there be like a battle? Like, aren't they invading? It's like, just walk over here and I have a scout around the areas. It's like, what? This is an invasion.
I remember what they said to you. We're building a garrison so we can build our forces to invade Tanaan. And you just arrive on a cargo ship. Doesn't have any weapons. You just arrive on a transport ship that's made out of balsa wood, and then you meet up with Yiro, or you meet up with the orc woman if you're Horde, and then you just hold hands and skip up a road together.
Yeah,
Follow the yellow brick road.
They're trying to say that the shipyard is the assault So like your followers are off having a grand adventure, you know, like the intro sequence for all
For a
the going on,
change.
while you're the schmo on the fucking transport vehicle, you know, in a crate, you know, trying to, you know,
Always the
look around the
bridesmaid.
popular areas and ooh.
Go on, I'll
Yeah,
let you spit your venom. I know you've been chomping to talk about Apexis crystals, but even before you hit the
yeah,
recording button, you were just raring to get out of the box. Okay,
man, I,
go for it.
so I don't have a huge amount to say about the dailies because I didn't do them. I didn't fucking do them. I got to the island and then the mission was it was very similar to Timeless Isle. Like
Yeah.
when I was at Matatanan, it reminded me of Timeless Isle a lot, and not in a bad way. I liked Timeless Isle.
No, I think
Uh,
Timeless Isle pwns Tanan, but we'll get to that later. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so you had the mission where it's like go over here and explore these areas, and I looked at the map and I was like, oh man, there's treasure everywhere. This is gonna be awesome. Like this is just gonna be like Timeless. And there were some areas that had like elite mobs, and you had to collect some stuff. It was basically just introducing you to them. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. There are quests around here, man. This is gonna be sweet.
Yeah.
And so I finished that mission to scout around the areas, and then
45 odd minutes later.
yeah. And then final, and also like there's no quest that leads you from like usually when you enter a new zone you get like a bunch of quests in a little area, you finish them all, then you go to the next area. In this one it's like no, just walk 5 miles over here, go to the thing, now I'll go to the next checkpoint, you know, like you're in fucking Mario Kart, and then you end up back at the start. And so once you finished all that and you've got all the flight paths, it's like guess what, man, guess what. You know those Apexis dailies that you loved doing all fucking day, every day, to get stuff you just didn't need, to get the equipment that you just didn't even fucking need. Guess what, man? 2.0, we've brought them back by player demand.
By popular demand. For one patch only, by popular demand. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Apexis dailies.
Here's the awesome thing, though. They give you a choice between doing shitty content, one Apexis daily, and another Apexis daily. It's like, great, man. I can choose the way I die. I can either
by boredom or by suicide.
Yeah, exactly. Seppuku, or I can just fall off a cliff. Like, choose your favorite way to have to cause yourself a lot of pain. Like, great. Thanks, Blizzard.
Do you know, I kind of have the same feel, because I was when I went to the PTR for 6.2 for the first time, I legitimately wanted this to be the adrenaline shot in the arm of this expansion. Yeah. I really thought, you know, that we've had a terrible 6.1. Even the devs have said we shouldn't have actually called it 6.1. We should have called it 6.0.5. It was really a hotfix patch. We kind of maybe dressed it up a bit too much. So this essentially was going to be 6.1, and because it's coming 8 months later, you might as well say it's 6.1 and 2 rolled into 1. Yeah. And I was thinking, look, if they can just give us a few things here, a few things which I can go, you know, I can get on board with that. Yeah, I can get on board with that. And with Tanan opening up, I was thinking they are more likely to go for a Timeless Isle feel to it. They are more likely going to go for a sandbox. Let's try and get people involved. Let's try and get people to have choices of different areas to go to at any one time to do this, that, and the other. So I rightly or wrongly, naively or not, I don't know. Maybe I am the eternal optimist, even though my videos, you'd say, won't say that. I went there with a little bit of optimism. And when I arrived, and there were these, you know, there were, like you said, there were quite a few of these yellow exclamation marks up. And I was thinking, okay, this is a good start. Yellow exclamation marks, to me, are always a good thing. It's when they go blue that I start to fucking panic. So because there was like, you know, several. There were several. I can't remember exactly how many, but there were several yellow ones. So I picked them all up, and it's like, go here, go there. Like you say, it's kind of like a Mario Kart. You go on a tour of the isle, basically. You go on a tour of the zone. Right, you start off on the iron front. Do you want to do an Apexis? No. Just go and see the scouts. So I've gone and see the scouts. Okay, go over to the Legion area and drop those things down. And that was good. I liked that. It's a tough, difficult area full of elite mobs, as you said. And then you had to drop these 5 radar dishes or whatever they were. I don't freaking know. So there
No,
was
I don't
lots
know
of
either.
jiggery pokery to avoid getting killed and all that. And I found that exciting because, you know, I like
Yeah, it was good.
threat. I like myself to be in peril because it adds to the excitement of survival and it adds to the excitement of combat. When
It
everything's
it
spacewalk,
it,
it's dull.
it makes you want to group up with other people nearby as well, just to
Yeah, it
survive.
gives
Like
a hand, mate.
that's awesome. Yeah.
Gives a hand, get rid of this bastard. I can't get to me freaking radar. But like, it took me about 45 minutes, let's say, to do all of those little yellow quests.
Yeah.
And then I got back to base. I was like, right, okay, I've done what you wanted. I've done what you wanted. Where's the story going to start then? You're going to say, right,
Yeah, the
the theme
story.
started happening here. The narrative's starting here. Those Arakoa over there. And I was waiting to get that. And I got there and I was just like, no yellows, no yellows, no yellows. Oh, I've seen a quest in here. It's in here. It's in here. It's in here. It's by a fucking table. It's a table.
Oh, no.
It's an Apexis crystal fucking table. And it was
Yeah.
just like, no. And then I was looking and I wasn't even reading any of the chat. Because I was recording and I put it to a tab where nobody can put any information at all. So I have this clear tab. So it just makes my recording look a little bit more neat. And then I flicked it onto the general tab and all I saw from the PTR testers was, oh, it's just a fucking lead you to an Apexis table. Fuck it out. And so, yeah, and then and then you suddenly realize that the whole zone was literally segmented into Apexis areas. And I did I did probably more Apexis areas than I've done in the whole expansion because I wanted to kind of see if they had evolved, if they were different. Did they feel any better than they were before in 6.0? Did I feel as if I was actually getting a little bit more into this? And I found them a little bit quicker, but were they any better? Well, no, they just followed the same guidelines. You kill that, it fills up a bar. You pick up that, it fills up a bar. There were a couple of sort of like speeding up mechanics. Like in one area you could pick up a bomb, and if you were wise enough, you'd run around and grab as many mobs as you could onto you before you were killed, and then just drop the bomb at your feet, and it would wipe them all out. And that would give you a substantial bit of the bar filled, and little nuances like that. But just because a piece of content is a little bit quicker doesn't make it better. Therefore, it was still following the same routine, the same thing. And again, it got right back to what I was saying about the shipyard and the command table. My brain just suddenly started to departmentalize exactly how it was the same to the existing one. I heard somewhere somebody saying, oh, the Apexis dailies, they're like revitalized, they're like, a whole new version of what they used to be. And it's just like, you're fucking on acid or something. Seriously, you're on. It's just like, this is exactly the same. It just can be sped up a little bit than before, but it's no different. But the worst thing was, it wasn't as if there were one or two. It's the whole fucking zone. Yeah. So your choices are just like, well, if you don't mind just grinding Apexis crystals until you're blue in the face, you're gravy. But if you want any options, you're fucked.
I think that there is content in Tanan. I think there might just, I can't confirm, but I feel like there would be just as much content on Tanan as there is with Timeless. I think the problem stems because I think that a lot of people in the comments are going to be like, well, you didn't do the Pixels dailies. How would you know how you feel? Here's the thing, right?
I can speak for both of us.
A bad first impression can completely put you off something.
Yeah.
There are expectations that you have from Apexis dailies, and I am unwilling to do that. If they wanted me to experience a story, they would have put in some story quests for me to do. Apexis are good on the side. I don't think I'm ever going to say Apexis is good again in a sentence. They're good on the side, just like dailies. They're good to kind of pad out content.
Yeah.
But when they're the focus of content, like what are you doing?
No, spot on. Like absolutely spot on. It's filler content. That stuff is filler content to me.
Yeah, like you use it in addition to other shit, not as the center focus. Like as soon as I saw that, it doesn't matter what quality it is. It doesn't matter how much stuff you have to do around the island, the world boss and the rares and stuff. I don't want to have my main thing, the thing that's driving me forward, to be that.
Yes.
It's not good. It's
because treasures are finite. There's if you decide to become the treasure hunter, get the map. And I like treasure hunting. Don't get me wrong. I've actually found that to be probably the most enjoyable thing. It was just so sad that when you got to top level, the enjoyment kind of went, because it's a little bit redundant, because anything you found you couldn't use, and therefore it just made it, again, redundant.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the treasure hunting aspect could be fun, but it's really finite, because when you found all the treasures, you can't go out find them again. There ain't any more spawning. It's not as if it's a random spawning thing that's happening. It's finite.
It should be. It really should be.
Maybe, maybe not. You know, but put it this way, with the options that we've got, then, you know, anything is a good idea right now. Any idea is kind of like thrown around or on the table. I'm listening to anything.
I can look in my toilet seat and find a better idea at this stage.
I'm sure that has been said. I've said it myself. But the rares, with the rares, again, you can only kind of farm rares for so long before it just becomes a little bit, So you can't look at rare farming as a main focal point of content. So the main focal point of content for Tanaan is just Apexis Crystal Daily. And the worst thing was, maybe you can tolerate doing one a day, okay? Maybe you can tolerate one a day because you say, I actually know the mechanic to use in this Apexis zone to speed things up. So at least it's going to be quick. Because I know on the Iron Front, I know how to do the Iron Front in, few minutes, next to no time. You get the bandages, you get the people up with the bandages, and you kill the Gron. If you kill the Gron and you kill the rare mob, it fills up the bar like no man's land. It goes pew. But when you go then, because I'm going to bring this into this conversation now, the reputations, the 3 reputations that they brought in, and one of them is a daily quest to do 2 more Apexis zones, which only unlocks when you've done the command table Apexis zone.
Oh,
and if
man,
you do them both, you get 250 rep combined for the 2. It's just like, that to me is not an incentivizing way to want to play your content. This does not make me think, awesome, I feel really good about playing this content by grinding my dick off, knowing that after about 10 days I am going to lose the will to live, and then realize that if I've done that specific daily quest for 10 days, I've actually got 2,500 rep cumulative from it, which is just over a third of friendly to honoured.
Awesome.
Brains everywhere.
How engaging.
And one thing that was slightly worrying was in the recent Corey interview, the recent propaganda interview, he said that the Tanaan content was meant to last us until the end of the expansion.
What?
Yeah. Which kind of made my heart sink. Because, he said it like very sort of like under the radar, and it's like, Tanaan, it's a ton of content in Tanaan. It's meant to last you to the end of the expansion. It's sort of like that almost. You're just like, what? What?
But they're going to release they're talking about a new patch though, aren't they? Like a
no!
patch?
Have you heard the lingo? The lingo is as Ian Hazakostas is a law guy, isn't he? This guy can double talk like there's no tomorrow. When asked by, I keep saying Polygon. That's it. When asked by Polygon if 6.2 was it, if this was going to be the final patch, he said, we have plenty more story to tell, which kind of leads you to believing that there's going to be more patches. Corey was asked directly in this recent interview whether or not there was going to be a patch 6.3 and a patch 6.4, never mind just a patch 6.3. And he just, this is, remember, the person whose game title is lead content designer. And he said he couldn't answer the question. He couldn't answer the question.
Right.
And when they were quizzed on the PTR about Mythic raiding, Ian came up with this tweet, which is, again, a very ambiguous tweet, which sort of said, yes, we've changed the mechanics for Mythic dungeon bosses. Mm-hmm. But I read that tweet and I was like, no, that's too ambiguous. That says, that's kind of like hints that we might have done, but there's enough there that if they haven't, they can turn around and go, no, we didn't say anything. And guess what? It turned out to be the latter. They haven't changed any mechanics at all. So we don't actually know if there's going to be a 6.3. And then especially with Corey saying about that, it's all a bit,
Well, I mean, there was a community manager called Zahim on the forums who
Jonathan
lately
Brown.
said, like someone was saying, in regards to what Zahim had said, they said, so you're saying this, this, and this. And then Zahim's like, no, if I wanted to say this, this, and this, I would have said that, and that. People read into what I'm saying too much. But then when someone like Ian says that, and then they wonder why people read into things they say too much.
Yes.
Well, that's the reason, because they're so ambiguous. It's ridiculous. I know that giving straight, like, full answers is kind of difficult sometimes because it's a giant team. Just like with the flying thing. Like, obviously they shouldn't have said we're not going to have flying because that was just a stupid move completely. But yeah, like they say stuff so ambiguously that it's really open to interpretation sometimes. And they do that to themselves because they can't give full answers. So they give half answers instead of no answer at all.
Yeah, which, I mean, I know we kind of gone a little bit off topic here, but that leads you to the point of view of, do they actually genuinely themselves know what's going on? Or is it still so up in the air there that they legitimately can't formulate a response for me? Because to me, it's not a bit like let's say with Final Fantasy 14, I know people are going to hate me for saying, but when Yoshida, the head person in who Square Enix, who deals with Final Fantasy, when you ask him a question about content, he gives you a straight freaking answer. They recently asked him in an interview, when is patch 3.1 going to come out, which is going to be the first patch after the launch of Heavensward, which happened this week. And he just said, well, the end of August is our 2-year anniversary. Have a look around there. So we're like, brilliant. Okay, 2 months, just 2 months after launch, we're going to get patch 6.1. Are you going to bring any bosses to this patch? There is going to be at least a boss in every single patch that we do of the expansion. This guy doesn't just answer your question. He gives you further information on top of that. Is it that hard a question to say, based on what we've been doing so far, is there going to be a patch 6.3? Is that so hard to give us a yes or a no?
Based on a lot of stuff that's been happening lately with the game, such as the pendulum swings, with the putting in dailies, taking them out, the dungeon difficulty, taking that out. Based on like every little tiny bit of player feedback, it's as if there's no singular vision behind the game that is like, actually, guys, fuck what these players are saying. I want to do this, and I think it'll help the game. Like, there's nothing like that. It's so conflicted over there. Everyone, like, every time there's any kind of issue with the game, there's always a community manager that's like, yeah, man, we talk about this around the water coolers all the time. It's like, well, no.
Well, we skateboard with our rad haircuts. Yeah.
Have a board meeting with someone who has a vision, and then have them say yes or no. Like, you're supposed to do that. You're not I'm sure that there are issues that you should be talking about, but the reason for pendulum swings is that there's no one there to just be like, no, how about we don't do that? Or how about we do this? Because this is a good idea.
Unless that person is Activision, when Blizzard are saying, right, we want to put this content into the game, and Activision are going, no! Yeah. That's profits you're eating into, you shit!
Yeah.
You shit of a designer. You shit of a person. That's my profit, you fucktard. Just get them to give us our money and shut up. Get on with your job. We're contract. You got our contracts, Fuck off. Is it that? Because to me, it seems like these are intelligent people that work for Blizzard. These aren't morons. As much as sometimes we kind of intimate at that, but it's really to do with like decision making that we question, not their integrity as human beings or people. I'm sure these are all legitimately very intelligent human beings across the whole board, because they have produced such great stuff in the past. So you have to say, how does it get to this kind of state, and what is the direction? Is it Activision that is simply castrating this development team to producing diverse content for the game?
Yeah, there's definitely some kind of restriction there. Either it's like a creative block that's happening on like a company scale, or it is like someone stepping in to be like, no, take out this fun content. Players don't need that. Put in more microtransactions. Oh, wait, you made a
Dungeons,
mount.
more dungeons? That's going to cost us X amount of money out of our profit. Back off. No, they get a raid and they shut up.
On the shop.
But Jeremy Fiesel recently said, after 10 years, it's very difficult to come up with fresh ideas. Now, bearing in mind that there is an MMORPG which is coming to the end of its life shortly that's been going for 13 years, which is Final Fantasy 11. And that's been going for 13 years, expansion, still doing its thing, still has a community behind it. But if somebody's telling you that, if I was like running the design team or something, and I had one of my designers or whatnot, dev team, coming to me and said, do you know something, after 10 years I'm finding it very difficult to come up with ideas, I'd go, okay, that's fair enough, let's push you on to something else then, and I'll get somebody in that says, I've got ideas. I've got a vision about what we can do. Because not through being horrible, because like I said, I'm not sacking him, I'm just saying, okay, let's reassign you to try and do something else. Let's find another place for you then. But you need to have the people that have vision. You need to have people that have ideas. I don't see, regardless of how, whether or not it's 10 minutes quicker to do an Apexis Crystal Daily in 6.2 than it is in 6.0, there hasn't been an evolution in that content. It is still intrinsically the same thing that has the same feel, that has the same vibe, that is going to bore people very quickly because they've been doing it for 8 months. Where's the diversity? Timeless Isle, which I just mentioned earlier on in the video, Timeless Isle pwns Tanaan Jungle. Yeah. Because when I arrived on Timeless Isle, it was a sandbox area, and I thought to myself, right, am I going to go, should I go to see if that village event's up, see if I can grab the pet? Your legendary cloak actually opened up a whole new segment. There's no areas to open up in Tanaan. It's available for all straight away, and it's all Apex's crystal grinding. Should I try and kill those rare mobs for pets? Should I go and do the ship event? Should I do the event under the water? Should I summon Arch and kill him? If they would should I do the ship? The ship. Should I do the whale? Yeah. At least there were options about what should you do. Oh, should I wait for Hulon? Time run spawn. Time run Hulon. Those things. There isn't that in Tanaan.
I think that, you could argue that Tanaan is essentially that. Like, it's got a lot of that stuff. It's got the rare spawns, as it's got the world boss. It's got the daily that kind of incentivizes you to go around and do this other stuff, look for the treasure. There is that stuff, but the difference is Timeless Isle was a lot new, and it was something different and fresh, and it felt good. So when you did it, it was kind of exciting to, obviously they had stripped out all the dailies because of the negative feedback from earlier in the expansion, which I was fine with. Yeah. They didn't have enough time to do it for the, that Isle of Thunder thing.
But that was okay, because the Isle of Thunder just reeled it all back. Yeah. Instead of having gazillion dailies, there were like 3 in that segment, 3 in that segment, and then it with 1. It felt fine. The progression was fine.
So Timeless Isle was new and exciting, whereas this one, there were 2 major things that had the bad impression, which was the shipyard command table and also the Apexis dailies. So there is, I think, just as much content in this one as Timeless Isle, but they've done it in a way that looks bad and feels bad, and that therefore makes you not want to continue doing that stuff. Yeah, and so therefore you miss out on it.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, because when I have, I think by the sounds of it, you got the same feeling. But when I think of Apexis crystals now, I just think, not Apexis crystals themselves, because that's just currency. When I'm thinking of Apexis Crystal Daily, I'm just thinking, just fuck off. Yeah, I am not going to do that. I've been doing it for 8 months. I'm bored of it. I'm sick of it. I need something fresh. And it's not fresh. Quicker doesn't mean fresh. Quicker doesn't mean fun. Quicker just means it's the same shit that gets done slightly quicker. Hence word quicker. Not better. Not greater, So I just think I can't be fucked to go in any of those. So that's 7 zones, like a huge proportion of the Tanaan map gone. Yeah, because I just don't want to fucking touch it.
Yeah, like it's because of the stigma of the Apexis dailies that is the problem. So the Timeless Isle had like one daily, and that's to kill a bunch of mobs. Essentially, it's the same thing as Apexis dailies, but that was more of a guide than anything else, and it gave you a choice between like what area you wanted to go to. And you kind of make your own like sub objectives, which is like I want to go to this area and kill these mobs because then I might get this pet that dropped here, or this mount or whatever. So that actually kind of worked. But yeah, but because of the stigma, a lot of people, like, I mean, me especially, just, I don't want to do this thing that you've created, pieced together from the corpse of other content and see all the other fancy stuff you've got. Because, like, I mean, I've already seen all the content because I did the Mario Kart circuit. So now
Yeah.
I'm just going to kind of sit here, hearth back to my garrison and just do raids. Thank you.
But if you just objectively step back, regardless of your own personal feelings to liking it, disliking it, whatever, if you just objectively take a step back, you have to say from an objective viewpoint, how can doing the same stuff which you've been doing for 8 months and then putting it in the island, how is that actually going to feel fresh to your audience? How is that going to keep your audience playing for another 6 to 8 months? I personally said, I reckon people in 3 to 4 weeks are going to be just sick to the back teeth of this. And I'm already having people talk to me within the first week of launch saying, I've fucking had it. I've had it. You know, it's just a Pexis table, you know, that's all this is. I think a lot of people, this is just it. Your brain is immediately just departmentalizing exactly what the content is, how we've done it in the previous expansion. Timeless Isle, like you said, was fresh. It was a sandbox idea, and it hadn't been done throughout the course of that expansion, because we've been saturated full of dailies. 5.2 did a great job of breaking stuff up and bringing new ideas in. 5.3, terrible. I thought it was a terrible grindy Barrens area. Ugh. And then 5.4 was just like, go, do what you want. But I just haven't got that Timeless Isle feel to Tanaan whatsoever, because all I see is just literally a very contrived zone broken up into Pexis areas. Nothing to really explore, nothing to really get lost in, nothing that, you know, no secrets that are opened up by having my legendary ring or anything like that. You know, everything is just plonked there.
Yeah. I actually want to talk about the art style in these new zones and the new raid as well. I can't get into the art style at all.
Really?
I think
I love
that,
it.
yeah, no, I personally...
This is awesome. We're going to conflict now.
Yeah. Whenever I did, like, when I was doing the raid, the new raid, the Hellfire raid,
Yeah.
I was looking around and I was just thinking to myself, like, I feel like I've seen this crap before. It's like, I don't know, generic kind of building design. Everything's really dark and like gritty. And I remember back in Vanilla WoW and Burning Crusade, there were a lot of bright colors. Like, people would have armor on that was like really contrasting and really like stand outish. But nowadays, everything's got shadows on it. Everything's really dark and like a bit of a glow. And I don't know, man. When I was walking around Tanaan Jungle, I was looking at the story. What do you call them? The concept art, and it was just like a really lush forest that you could get lost in. And then I went to Tanaan Jungle. I'm like, wow, this looks kind of generic. It looks like I don't know, just random fell tainted grassland area, and I'm not getting into it.
I love it. I think the thing that has shined the most this expansion has been the art department. I think they've been 11 out of 10. They really have. And Tanaan's meant to be that ugly kind of foreboding feel to Tanaan. This is the seat of power for the Iron Horde, and it's all been fucked up by Gul'dan and his pact with the Legion and stuff. So there is meant to be that very kind of gritty, dirty felt. And you have seen it before, because we've had the Burning Crusade, and this is essentially, or was essentially, their attempt to try and get the nostalgia from the community back after Miss had been a very disappointing expansion and lost them a lot of subscribers. And initially that worked because everybody came back, because we suddenly were going to see Draenor intact, The zones all in Draenor, great diversity, great colours. Look how vibrant Nagrand is, for argument's sake, and Talador, because they're the seats, great open fields of Nagrand, wonderful seat of power for the Draenei in Talador, amazing artwork, just exemplary artwork. And when you're leveling up, you've always got content, and another massive important thing when you're leveling up is you've always got narrative, you've got story, so you've always got that going through and running through the game. Tanaan is meant to be sort of the Cain to Abel, or vice versa. It's meant to be the black sheep of the family. It's meant to be that zone which is just kind of fucked. And I think they did a great job of making a jungle look as diverse as it did, with its different areas. There's this corrupted Draenei area. There's a corrupted, Bleeding Hollow-esque area. There's that burnt out forest area. There's the Iron Citadel slap bang, or it's now actually going to be called Hellfire Citadel, slap bang in the middle. Little splatterings of forestation still there that haven't been ripped down, and then Kil'jaeden's throne. I really like the aesthetic. To me, the aesthetic was the one thing in Tanaan which made me feel, this is, although there's fuck all to do, really, or I feel there's fuck all to do, because it's just a Pexis grinding crap, at least it looks awesome. I kind of got that vibe from it. At least it looks great. It feels and kind of operates as some twisted mechanic. I think that the massive failing of this zone is the 100% lack of narrative.
Sure.
There is no narrative in the World of Warcraft anymore, and that just makes people stagnant. It gives us no direction. It gives us no choices. It doesn't connect us to any of the factions. I couldn't give two hoots about any of the factions in Tanaan. We have no connection to anything anymore. Once you pull the narrative from an MMO RPG, because RPG is still so important to a game like this, you are lost, and that is the situation what we're in Tanaan. I think, and that maybe that could be a reason, because if you're just lost, if you have no narrative, if you have no story to push you forward, apart from a dismal 6 garrison command missions, how are you meant to immerse yourself in it? I don't get it.
Yeah, the narrative is definitely taking a big hit, unfortunately. There is still a lot of good story in the game. Otherwise, Noble wouldn't have a channel. But unfortunately, the way they've presented the main story is very hard to follow.
Yeah,
and
it is convoluted. It's just convoluted
if you're
beyond.
a casual kind of player, I mean, a lot of the time you don't read the quest text, but even if you do, it doesn't tell you exactly what happened in that cutscene. Why the hell Grom's on our side now, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But going back to my,
because he's a big name. He's a big name. So he's a big name that's just killed thousands of people, invaded our world, had no remorse, and then just turned around and gone, well, because Gul'dan kidnapped me. I'm a big name. You better like me. Yeah, whatever. Cut his fucking off.
So going back to what I was saying before about the art style, it was more about because even I'm looking down like the top-down perspective of Tanaan Jungle, and I'm still not getting into it. Everything is like just dark green and like murky grey. So my kind of problem with the art style has just been like not just with zones but with gear as well. As I said, back in the day, the colors used to be really vibrant and everything used to stand out. They had like a standout feature.
But do you think that's more of a problem of this expansion's... I think this expansion's taken itself way too seriously.
No, I don't think this is expansion. I don't know what it is about the art team, but they've like even when you have a look at the new Griffin compared to the old Griffin. Let me just do that real quick in Googlies. When you have a look at like the feathers and stuff, you can see that there's like a dark grittiness to it when it's supposed to just be like a light kind of mouth, like a light creature that is just like a fantasy kind of thing, and they've just made it dark and gritty for no reason whatsoever if you compare the two. Like, yeah, I'm looking at it now, and yeah, like even the eyes, it looks like a lot angrier, a lot more deadly, that kind of thing. But that's what I'm saying is that the art's gone from like fun and cartoony to like dark and gritty over the last couple of expansions. I'm not really sure what happened.
I hear what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. I personally think that's all right. I think that's absolutely fine. Yeah, I mean, from having played Alliance for so long, I mean, one of the biggest complaints that Alliance players always have is we're too cuddly. So it's actually, you know, to see this Griffin looking a little bit more cool, still, I think, because the new model looks incredible. It looks cool, but it looks like if the Wyvern came over and wanted to start something, that Griffin wouldn't fuck off and cry. It would go, fucking come on then, mate. You know, it looks like the Alliance could go toe to toe with the Horde's kind of mounts as well. Yeah, no, I just think. I think it's fine. You go to Stormwind, you go to places like that. They're very vibrant. You know, the Alliance banner is very bright.
Don't get me wrong, though. I think that the higher fidelity and the higher polygon count is amazing. I think they look really good, but the art specifically, I just don't like. I mean, obviously with the new character models, like it has the same problem with the character models where they are a lot more shaded and a lot more dark and gritty, but they look amazing. Like if you just stand back without looking at the art, like they run super well. Yeah.
What if I bought you the retarded horse for Christmas?
I think I'm good, actually. I think I might be all right.
I stick an ice cream cone on it. We'll call it a unicorn. No, I hear what you're saying. To me, it's fine. I mean, the one department I would not have any go at right now at Blizzard is the art department, because to me they have been up and beyond the stars of this expansion, because they have made what is in my eyes anyway not a good expansion, actually a fucking terrible one. They've made it look phenomenal. I think every zone looks incredible. I think every dungeon they've created has such a distinct personality and a unique feel. It's amazing. I think the new character models that they brought in were epic. I love my man nipples. I love that it wound some people up. That whatever, if nipples wind you up, you need to see doctors and talk to them. But you know, I think they're the people who have starred up and beyond, and I think. I just see, whenever I think of the art department at the moment, I just see these people sleeping at their desks. They have just been run ragged, this expansion, just run ragged, and it's just like, it doesn't feel as if there is enough hours in the day for these guys to create stuff. I can't say a single solitary bad word about them. I think Christy Robinson, I think the environmental team, Terangor, and all, I think the job lot have been epic, and I thank them. Okay, folks, that is the end of the first half of the discussion. If you go to the top link in the description down below, that's the second part, the continuation of this, which is on Danger Dolan's channel. Please go over there right now, finish off our ranting, and also click the subscribe button while you're there. But I hope you enjoyed the vid, and if you did, please do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Those links are also in the description down below, and I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care, everybody. Bye bye.